It's Lucy and Jeff going for walks and talk about banksters and Bitcoin and COVID and stuff. It's Lucy and Jeff and tacos and kisses. What do you think about that, Lucy? Well, everyone knows Killgate sucks. Microsoft sucks too. Even us dogs know that. Sorry, I haven't done too many videos lately. It's been freezing cold and rainy. Thanks, Greta.
How dare you?
I dare, Greta. Actually, I had some epiphanies. Actually, I'll start with that. In many ways, this everything that's going on has been incredibly good for me. Business has been going great, but business is just a small part of life, right? But normally around this time of year, my wife loves Italy. We'd probably be spending a few weeks traveling through Europe, Greece, just like last year. But of course, this year we couldn't. And I'd also right now be in Las Vegas at the World Series of Poker, which I always hate being in Vegas, but I do like playing in the World Series of Poker. And this year I don't even have to. I can just play it from my house. So I'm actually playing in it today. I'm on day 2 of the first one that you can play outside of the U.S. It's pretty funny. They have half the games that you can play only in New Jersey or Las Vegas or Nevada. And then the other half of the World Series this year, you can only play outside of the U.S. And it's amazing how so many of these poker players just kind of like, well, I have to go to Nevada to go play online. And then I'm going to Mexico or Canada after that to go play online. Actually, they can't get into Canada, so probably Mexico. But no one brings up, who are these people telling me I can or can't play poker from certain locations? This has been going on for years. Like really, online poker in the U.S. has like, for 10 years, they can't really play it. In the land of the free, of course. It was actually Harry Reid who did a deal with the casinos in Vegas to make it all illegal. More crony capitalism. But no one seems to have much of a problem with it. That's amazing. But my point is that I'd really be traveling a lot the last few months, or at least this month or next month. Around this time, I'd be traveling a lot. And I haven't traveled hardly at all. I'm going to now, inside Mexico. I'm going to be soon in a different location. Mostly trying to find some warm weather. Could be doing a fair amount of traveling inside Mexico, but that's so much easier. And you know, having not flown for like 6 months, I don't miss it at all. Like, I actually see what they're doing at these like TSA lines now, and the machines and the lasers and the 8-inch long Q-tip up your nose. And I'm like, I'd be perfectly fine if I never flew commercial again. Now, commercial, I might look into a private plane. A lot of them are coming down in price dramatically, including boats as well. This is what I said was going to happen. So we'll see what happens. But my point is that during all those travels, I would get really off of my routines. And because I haven't been traveling much for 6 months, except for inside Mexico, which is much easier, I even bought an RV, which we haven't used yet, but we're going to start using soon, that I've had so much more time to work on myself, and it has been, I don't think there's a word for what it's been. It's been beyond unbelievable how amazing it has been. I spend hours every day meditating now, and a lot of you might say, how can you do that? Well, when you practice enough and you do it every day for a couple of years, you eventually get really good at it. And a lot of people who've never really meditated will say, and this would have been me like 6 months ago, by the way, how can you just sit there? Actually, I lie down. My back's not great for like sitting, although I am working on my flexibility. I'm working on all kinds of stuff, but I lie down while I do it. And you get into this space once you do it enough that hours can go by, and if you think at all about the hours that have gone by, which you don't, if you ever even for a moment think like, should I stop? The first thing that comes into my head most of the time now is, no way. This is way better than regular life. So again, it's sort of turning a negative into a positive, right? Even this morning, I was on the treadmill, working my flexibility. I even got this new device. I'm not going to tell you about it yet until I see more results, but it is pretty amazing. So, learning tons of stuff. Oh, I've been reading books. I've started painting. I might, if I remember, I'll try to throw out my first painting. It's of Lucy. I've started to get interested in doing music. So this thing has sort of forced me to do things I wouldn't have otherwise probably done, which have been amazing. And during one of my 3-hour meditations, I had a bit of an epiphany. I was like, they talk about the apocalypse in the Bible. I'm rereading that right now, by the way. I just started last night. I'm like 5% of the way through. And they talk about the apocalypse, and they talk about those who have eyes to see and ears to hear will, you could say, survive. They will not be destroyed by Kill Gates and the 666. Turns out Kill Gates is Satan. Or no, he's not probably, but he's one of the front men for it. But here's my idea. Almost everyone watching this channel, unless you're brand new and someone sent this to you, and you're like, what the heck? He's walking with his dog talking crazy stuff. Yeah, it might seem crazy if all you've done is watch television or go to schools and been brainwashed, but what if what they were talking about in the apocalypse in the Bible is people like us who know what's going on, we're totally aware. Obviously, I don't know everything, but I know most of the things going on, at least the basics of them. And we know, don't take their vaccines, don't get into their government databases. What if it ends up killing all those people who are not awake, they're not conscious of what's going on, and all that's left is people like us? And if that were to happen, then maybe Bill Gates is like the good guy. Not to say that I want everyone in the world to die. I don't. I've never thought that way. I couldn't care less, really, what they do. It's like, it's your life. Do whatever you want. But if he gets rid of all the NPCs and zombies and sheep that make life really bad, like horrible, because they support all these government stuff, they just repeat what they're told, so they're basically like robots. If he gets rid of all of them and all that's left is us, is that like what they wrote about in the Bible? Interesting, right? Where's Lucy? Lucy! All right, I haven't even gotten into what I have to talk about yet. I have I didn't do a video for 2 days, so I've got a ton of things to talk about. I'll see how many I can get through. But first of all, where's Lucy? Oh, there she is. That's my girl. Yeah, that's my girl. Yeah, finally, it's not raining and cold. Stupid Greta. But I have to tell you about something. There actually has been something far more dangerous than the COVID-19. COVID-19! You won't believe this, but in the U.S. alone, in the last basically 6 months, 39 to 56 million people caught it. 18 to 26 million of them were so bad they had to go to a doctor. And 410 to 740,000 of them, a massive amount, felt so bad they actually went to the hospital. And somewhere between 24,000 and 62,000 of them in the last 6 months have died. This comes straight from the CDC for all the YouTube fact checkers. I love fact checkers. Yes, it is the flu. 39 million to 56 million had it in the last 6 months. Well, it's a good thing they didn't pick that as their thing for the pandemic where everyone would be going crazy. They'd all be killing themselves. But you know what? That happens basically every year. And again, the CDC, they've been so great, have put out some more information. This is updated as of July 10th, 2020, so about a week ago. This is very new information. I'm sure it was all over the news, or maybe not. And they make some very rough scenario guesses. They have like 4 scenarios, and then they have their current best estimate. And their current best estimate for the infection fatality ratio, or the death rate, for the COVIDs, I'm going to call it COVIDs from now on. AIDS was another scam, by the way. You have been scared to have sex without a condom for the last 40 years? Yeah, that's them again. They've been doing this for a long time. Yeah, you're not going to get something and die. But their death rate is 0.0065. Oh my gosh. That's about the same as the flu every year. Maybe a bit more, but as we know, they have been making up as many fake deaths as they can. And Fox again. This is like a local Fox station. Keep an eye on whoever works there. They might be getting killed soon. You should actually warn them. You're not supposed to put this out on the television. But it's just a local station, so they don't really cover it like on the main stations that anyone else would see. But here's, I think, Phil Kirpin. Well, this guy might be from CBS. He says, a reporter asked the Orange County, Florida health official if the 2 COVID deaths listed as in their 20s had any underlying conditions. Their reply, the first one didn't have any. He died in a motorcycle accident. Yes, you may know if you watch television. I don't, but I do pay a bit of attention to what other people are looking at. Florida, oh my gosh, it's the new epicenter. Everyone's going to die. So Fox has actually looked into this a little bit. And like I said, it's very dangerous for them. But thank you guys, Fox 35. You actually did, oh my gosh, it's the first time. I've never seen it. Actual journalism on television. Wow. It's almost like weird to see. So they actually went to the press conference and asked about this guy who died in a motorcycle accident that they said died of COVID. And one of the health ministers said, when asked if the COVID or the motorcycle had anything to do with his death.
The first one didn't have any. He died in a motorcycle accident.
New questions tonight about the accuracy of the state's coronavirus death numbers. Orange County Health Officer Dr. Raul Pino telling us one person reported to have died from COVID was killed in a motorcycle accident. So was it removed from the data?
I don't think so. I have to double check. We were arguing. We were discussing and trying to argue with the state. Not because of the numbers. I mean, it's 100. It's not make any difference if it's 99. Yeah. But the validity that the fact that the individual didn't die from COVID-19, died in a crash accident. But you can actually argue that it could have been the COVID-19 that caused him to crash. So I don't know the conclusion of that one.
We looked into it, and there are still 2 people in their 20s on Orange County's data list for COVID deaths. So is this a contradiction to how the state says it's counting deaths?
I don't know the conclusion of that one. The COVID's made him crash his motorcycle. This is just pure comedy. See, if you have the right attitude, this is actually just hilarious. I might get into a bit of like how you can kind of live through this, but if you have the right attitude, it's just hilarious. And Max Egan in his video yesterday had an Australian news article, and this again was on the television in Australia where they're having a huge outbreak. They're locking everyone down. No one can do anything anymore. And they're saying for maybe a couple years. In this report, the guy says, if you had COVIDs 2 months ago and recovered and were fine, and then you were hit by a car, that's COVIDs.
This morning, what's this all about, Rob?
So this is about how Public Health England calculates who has died from coronavirus and who gets added, whose deaths get added on to that tally that we've grown used to seeing day by day, that currently stands at around 45,000. Now, the issue is is that the way it's being counted at the moment means that if you are diagnosed, you test positive for coronavirus, even if you go into hospital, but then you recover and you come out, and then 2 months later, say, or a period of time later, you then die of something completely unrelated to coronavirus, your death will still be added to that coronavirus death tally. So the example that was given to me by a government source was basically if you had tested positive in February for coronavirus, you'd recovered, you'd been fine for the last few months, but then you'd been hit by a lorry or hit by a bus yesterday and died, your death would still be added on to that coronavirus tally, even though clearly, even though you may have had it, clearly your death is nothing to do with coronavirus at all.
Yeah, it's super bad. So Australia, the psychopaths who believe that they're in charge there, and a lot of people believe they are, that's why they listen to them, which is insane, have, because of this rampant COVID's outbreak, they've banned dancing, mingling, and singing at weddings. Meanwhile, back in the USSA, in Massachusetts, they say that bars and other businesses won't reopen until there's a coronavirus treatment or vaccine. Just so you know, that could be a few years. Actually, there'll never be a true one. But yeah, bars will never open again until they have it. And the best part about this one is the man, woman, whatever it is, sign language person. I actually watch these just for the sign language.
The primary driver of much of the significant increase in positive tests in a number of states has been the reopening of bars and nightclubs. And obviously bars and nightclubs are sitting in phase 4 under our guidance. And there was a reason for that. As difficult as it is for the people who operate and work in those institutions, we could not figure out a way to do that safely. And I think some of the indicators we've gotten from other states that move forward with those is that they couldn't figure that part out either.
So here's an image of the CDC adding up all the new COVID cases for the month. Wow, that looks like Common Core math. They control the schools as well, of course, and if you know anything about Common Core, you basically can just make up any number you want, and that's what they're doing. And because people have gone to government schools, they have no idea how to think. If they did, they would know, here's how you defeat. You don't need a vaccine. You don't need anything. Here's how you defeat COVIDs. Yeah, I don't have the coronavirus because I have no symptoms. Having no symptoms is one of the symptoms. But people will do whatever Bill Gates says. Don't know if you know, Bill Gates is pretty good friends with Jeffrey Epstein. Don't know if you've heard of him. Yeah, like this. Jeffrey Epstein's friend said, I have to wear a mask. And of course, all the brainwashed slaves, the NPCs, I love all the vax people. They're like, get the vaccine. If you don't get it, we're all going to die. It's like, I thought you have the vaccine. No, our masks won't work unless you wear yours too. But I have some good news. You can go ahead and smoke. Nobody's died of cancer or heart disease since the coronavirus came around. Everyone just seems to get the COVIDs now. But not to worry, for all the NPCs, you'll be getting your shot soon. They're just going to take your kid and just take genetically modified material and just shoot it right to the kid's vein.
Is there something to worry about with medicines? That is, might some of them have side effects? Do we need safety testing? I mean, and we're taking things that are, genetically modified organisms, and we're injecting them in little kids' arms. We just shoot them right into the vein.
Yeah, they started testing in Africa now, as usual. They test a lot of the vax over there. That's why most women actually are unable to have kids now. Don't know if you heard about that, but it's not really on the news. But now it says the testing will begin in Africa for biometric ID vaccine record payment system, tying in the vaccine with tracking, with cashless payments, tracking by the government, all into one. The program, which was first launched in late 2018, will see Trust Stamp's digital identity platform integrated into the Gavi MasterCard Wellness Pass, a digital vaccination record and identity system that is also linked to MasterCard's click-to-pay system that powered by its AI and machine learning technology called New Data. MasterCard, in addition to professing its commitment to promoting centralized record-keeping of childhood immunization. Thanks, MasterCard. It's weird. You know, Bill Gates, he's like a computer guy. He actually quit Microsoft right before the COVID came out. It's almost like he knew it was coming. He had to focus, he had to concentrate on this. And now MasterCard, of course, it makes total sense that MasterCard wants to help out with the vaccination and identity system. Yeah, makes total sense. So they're going to be this is what we've been talking about. By the end of this, if you don't have the vaccine, if you're not in their system, you won't be able to do anything. You won't be able to go anywhere or buy anything. Of course, there'll still be places, and of course, if you're smart, you'll still be able to. I always find a way around all of their things. I have no doubt I'll find a way around it this time. But for your average person, yep, they're going to be chipped, tracked, tagged, injected, sick for the rest of their lives, and many of them will be paralyzed and dead. Yeah, good times. But at least DARPA, you know, the Department of Defense, stationed in the Pentagon, one of the most evil things ever. Well, they're working on a vaccine. It says U.S. biotech firm and DARPA. Inovio reports encouraging vaccine results. That's great, DARPA. Oh, man. So, that's what's coming. And, you know, more and more I'm like, I think it's fine. Like, really, all the zombies and sheep and slaves will be just completely and totally enslaved. Now, it's possible I could be as well, but there's always ways around all their systems. Like, I'll probably make a fortune with black market vaccine certificates on the dark web. But if you think the world is going to go back to normal anytime soon, I don't think so. They're not stopping, no matter what evidence comes out. And like I said before, you can show people all this evidence, all this stuff I mentioned about how the flu's infected like 50 million people in the U.S. this year, and how the COVIDs, even from the CDC, it's like 0.0065. It's like nothing. It's basically about the same as the flu. But they can't see it because they're brainwashed. So if you do want to wake up friends and family members, or even just learn how to talk to anyone in society, because most people are like this, like I said, check out Larkin Rose's Candles in the Dark course. It's at attendcandles.com/VSL, I believe. It's a 2-day course. So if you have, I know some people have talked about friends and family, especially family, that is like heartbreaking for them, that they're going to die in all this, and they're going to go and become completely and totally enslaved. Well, you know, I kind of have this thing about family anyway. I've always said since I was born, you know, your mom, your dad, your brother, your uncle, if they're a-holes, who cares about them? I don't get this, well, just because they're my family, I have to care about them. Lucy, man. Right in the middle of the road. Esa, my girl, muy bien. But if you do want to try to wake them up, it does say in the Bible that this apocalypse will tear families apart, just so you know. So just at least get ready for that. But if you want to try to wake them up, that's the best way I know of. And if you want to try to survive through all this and profit, we designed the Dollar Vigilante newsletter for this. It's pretty amazing to see it all happening now. So we've got all the resources. Last 10 years we've been working on this stuff, getting prepared for what is currently going on. You can sign up to our newsletter at dollarvigilante.com/subscribe. And we also did a 2 full-day summit on how to survive and profit from all this. And you can get that at tdvsummit.com. I got a lot more stuff to talk about, but I think I'm going to leave it there. I'm recording this on Sunday. It's the first main day of the World Series of Poker online. I'm already on day 2 of 1. And so I'm going to do that. I already had my workout this morning. Lucy's already had her walk. We went early because of poker, and it's supposed to rain later. It's supposed to rain all week, actually. What do you think of that, Lucy? Lucy, bud? Lucy. What do you think of that? Yeah, great. But you should let everyone know, if you want a Tacos and Kisses t-shirt, you just go to dollarvigilante.com/store. And, it's not the same as me being there, but it's got my image on it. It's got Tacos and Kisses. So that's the best I can do to send it out to everybody. You can check that out. And, yeah, hopefully it stays warm for a little while. Grid.
How dare you!
You've seen the Dollar Vigilante on mainstream media trolling the fake news, and seen Jeff Berwick travel inside places like Venezuela and Cuba to expose the truth about what's happening in those socialist paradises. To get even more, make sure to subscribe to the Dollar Vigilante newsletter to receive 2 full 30-plus page issues from the Dollar Vigilante each month, plus market alerts on precious metals, Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, and gold mining stocks by going to dollarvigilante.com/subscribe.